What's going on, good folk? Kyron, Rich, whatever you want to call me, co-host of the Culture Garden podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Want to give an intro before we get things started. This week, we were supposed to record a film, and then schedules changed. Things happened. We were going to go ahead and take the week off. We knew we had Maurice in as a guest. And Maurice hit me up and was like, hey, man, let's try to record something. Let's see if there's a movie we can discuss that we both know pretty well. And I was like, I don't know about that idea per se. It's okay to take the week off, no biggie. And he was like, man, we can do something. We can record something or try to see what we can cook up. So I told him, let's just go ahead and press play and see what happens. We didn't have any kind of outline. We didn't have any kind of notes. And we just wanted to figure out what would happen. And if you see the title, it's called Creators on Creators. That is a play on Variety's Actors on Actors. We just wanted to have a conversation about what it was like to be creators in this space. We went from having no outline and no notes to a 2-hour and 20-minute conversation. Felt a little bit too long to put out as one. The first half of that conversation is a little bit different from the second half. We're releasing the second half today. It's more movie-based, and the first half was a little bit more personal, a little bit more vulnerable in regards to some of the things that take place and the visions for this space and being able to open up and share more things social media-wise. And it was a good conversation, but it felt a lot like last week's conversation. So we wanted to switch it up. Shout out to Maurice for that. That was his idea. Because I mentioned that I was going to either release both of them this week or the whole episode. And he was like, you should chop that up, him being the super producer that he is. So shout out to Maurice. Part 2 of that conversation is going to be released today. Like I said, part 1 will be released at some point down the line. And that's pretty much it. I wanted to set this intro because there is no, when you listen to the episode, there's going to be, it's going to sound like we just jumped in the conversation because we were already in it. We're already an hour into what we were talking about. And right when you start listening, that's where the conversation pivoted to more films. So that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give that intro so you're not wondering, hey, why does this seem a little bit choppy? That's the reason. Also, real quick, this was in part 1, so you won't hear it today. But Maurice brought up something. He asked me a very interesting question, and I wanted to share it with everyone here. He asked why or what do people come back for? What do people come back to the Culture Garden for? There's this whole conversation about, is it the content or is it the host? Myself, Rachel, school. And I didn't know. I didn't know the answer. I told him I don't really, other than the people we talk to all the time, I know there's a lot of people that listen that we've probably never spoken to. And I've never had real conversations about, hey, is this just more so because people like film? Is this because people like us? I'm not 100% sure. So I would really love our Instagram page, our email. If you can hit us up, at the Culture Garden Podcast on Instagram, the Culture Garden Podcast at gmail.com. If you can hit us up, we would love to just interact with you more, get a lot more, input in what we put out, because there is a big vision for this thing, and I want to make sure that we are supplying the need or the wants of the people that rock with us. And if you like things how they are, then that's great. We'll take that into account. If you don't, if you want to hear more things or different versions, whatever that is, just let us know, man. We just like talking to y'all anyway. So just wanted to say that once again, there will be no intro per se for this episode. You're going to jump right in the conversation. So treat this as the intro. We appreciate y'all as always. Shout out to Ray P. I love Ray P. Y'all know how I feel. Shout out to all of y'all for continuing to rock with us, to listen, to support. We appreciate y'all. Please remember to subscribe, share, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget about We Got Y'all. Things are heating up. The Shy, House of Dragons comes on next week. We will be recording and having conversations week by week. So yeah, thank y'all once again. We appreciate y'all. I'm going to pass it off to Denzel.
Okay. I'm going to switch it up this is for the listener. This is for the listeners here. So I'm try to, if we can try to be kind of, this ain't no quick time with slime, but this is like trying to like jump around a little bit film wise, just getting some takes from Rich.
Let's get it, man. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
All right. What's a movie that you really enjoyed when you were younger that now you arguably can't stand it? I watched this recently and I'm good, bro. I don't care to watch this again. And I really I remembered it differently. And if you want, I could go first.
Yeah, you go ahead and go first. I'm curious to know what you would say.
All right, this is easy work. Dead Presidents.
Really?
Dead Presidents.
I would be the opposite on that.
Oh, you didn't enjoy it back then. I
didn't like it as much as a kid, but I love it now. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Like, yeah. Didn't y'all review that? Y'all reviewed that, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, because I remember we talking about the genres, them going like, couldn't pick a genre. But like now I watch it and it's just the film, everything y'all said as far as them not picking the genre, not knowing where to go with it, and then you kind of forget like, oh, we're still in the same movie. I just can't stand it. The heist was half-ass. It was it felt very extreme. Like, I don't know. It's something about heist movies and black heist movies where sometimes the stakes are not set properly, I don't think. And so it just felt kind of, you need to get a job. You're drunk all the time and this and that. So I instead of trying to get a job and dealing with my PTSD, which again, that time is not a mental health error, but like, instead of like, let me get another job. I mean, he was working at the butcher shop or whatever, but like, you could have found another gig. It's like, oh, let me jump all the way up to get, to rob a bank. So anyways, but that's a movie like I am super good on.
I think we covered a couple of them, right? So Crash, I enjoyed Crash when it came out. It just feels so dated now when you look at it. That's definitely in the moment or first time watching. But if you lived enough life, it's just one of those, all right, man. Like I kept mentioning in our episode Message, they just had a bunch of those moments.
Goodness gracious.
Crooklyn. Crooklyn. And I would probably say, and this might be surprising, and I'm not going to, this isn't on the I hate it now. I remember when School and myself were doing the Wayans episode, and we got down to Don't Be a Menace. And it's just like, man, we chalked that up to just movie exhaustion. We watched a lot of movies in preparation for that episode. I don't hate that movie by any means. But after you've seen it so many times for a certain period of your life, and then you sit it down and then you try to revisit it, like a movie you can quote front to back, it's just like, damn, like, am I just in a mental space where I'm not trying to feel this or I'm not trying to hear this? Because it just didn't hit the same. And it just kind of, it broke my heart a little bit because I love that movie and it meant so much to me. I will tell you this, just to kind of remix your question just a tad bit. A movie that I wish we could go back and discuss. Soul Food.
Really?
I think I was a little too hard on Soul Food.
You was going hard. You definitely was going hard.
I think I was a little too hard on Soul Food. I think I went a little too hard on Will Smith in our Big Willie episode. Our very first episode that we did after the intro. I think I was a little bit too hard. And it almost sounded like, and I don't like the group, but it kind of sounded Skip Bayless's. Like, if you didn't know me, you would have thought I was trying to be a character. Like, I was trying to make content by being this guy with some of the things. I still hold true to some of those thoughts, but for me to say, like, Will isn't the best, like, his acting has gotten better. I still hold true to the fact where I said, like, he's more of a movie star than an actor. And I mean that in the traditionally trained, like, classically trained way. Like, he didn't go to Juilliard. He didn't go to Yale. He didn't go to a traditional school like a Chadwick or other people. To where you like, all right, man, he got a bag. It was straight charisma.
So you think he's the original?
It's almost impressive. It's almost even more impressive because of where he got.
You think he's the original Michael B. Jordan? Is what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. I've always said that Michael B. Jordan is in the Will Smith lane. And I love Michael B. Jordan.
I can't do that. I can't do that, bro.
There's never going to be any Michael B. Jordan slander in a real way from my end.
No doubt. We love Michael B. Like, I love.
No. I'm not saying you were doing that, but I'm just like, I always compared those two. I've always compared those two because just straight up charisma and like go after it and discipline and hard work.
by all means, I think they got it. But do I look at them as like actors, thespians? Not necessarily. I will say Michael B. Jordan's gotten better with each film. Man, listen, Creed 3, I was so impressed with Michael B. Jordan.
I enjoyed Creed 3. I mean, he embodied it, but I think the film as a whole, I like what he was going for.
I think he bodied it. I think his directing was incredible.
I think the directing was good.
Now, I will say this. There is a thing where a lot of films, he's next to some giants. Like Just Mercy, to have Jamie, to have...
I never watched that. Was that good?
Yeah. It's one of those... I remember taking moms to see that in the theater. And there's a certain scene in that movie. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. But there's a certain scene where I looked over. Mom's had the glory tear coming down. I'm crying, man. It's an emotional... It can be heavy. Specifically at one point in that film. But yeah, no, that was good. And I just think that there's a certain lane that they have. And they're movie stars more than actors, in my opinion. It's hard to do both. It's hard to be both. Like A-listers and I can act my ass off with anybody.
It's hard.
Meryl Streeps of the world, your Denzels, your
it's hard, bro. It's hard because the range of it. I would agree, but the range of film, you can't get that range off charisma or just being a star. The range that Will. I'm talking about Will. The range.
And that's why
I say he's not classically trained, but I think that he grew into it's the classic conversation of, I have a master's degree versus I got 10 years experience in the field. Now
that's exactly, you know what I mean? That's exactly why I said I would want to go back and change that, because I was a little too hard on him. Like, there's to your point, Mo, there's too many things that he's done incredibly well. In that range, like you said. Even the 7 Pounds, which is a movie I'll probably never watch again.
I never went back.
I'll probably never watch that again, but his performance on that, King Richard, the one he won the Oscar for.
Richard was good.
His performance in Ali, I Am Legend, the degree of difficulty it is to kind of do a movie by yourself. I know, throughout the film there are other people there, but primarily you and a dog, and to make that realistic and just the bag that he gets in, man, I just think that I prefer, probably because I was introduced to Will as, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as Men in Black, and the movie star Will, that it took a while to appreciate his bag. And I think he does have a bag.
Yes, he do.
But it took time to get there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Even Enemy of the State. Even Enemy of the State, as much as I love Enemy of the State. I love Enemy of the State, but Gene Hackman, you could tell. He wasn't there yet. He ain't had the chops to really hang with Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman didn't even come into the film. It's an hour into it, hour 15, however many long. So Will did his thing. It's enjoyable. So I don't want to say it like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. All right. So we said a film that we enjoyed back then that we don't really like now. I want to see about some hot takes. I feel like there's some hot takes out there about that you may have, that I may have, about certain films, certain lead characters. I don't know how you feel, but do you have any hot takes about a film? Not necessarily a theory, but we could throw theories in there too if you say, because I love a good theory about a film. I heard, speaking of what we were talking about, individuals were talking about earlier, they had a hot take, and it was interesting if you rewatch the film, of Axel Foley being possibly gay.
Oh, yeah. Wesley Morris, who was a writer, journalist, he's had this theory as well. I've heard him discuss it.
Okay.
And the guy, I forget his name off the top of my head, the guy who got out of jail, came to visit him. And Mike, that they were lovers. I've heard this before.
Okay.
And then that just opens up a whole
nother way. You look at everything differently.
We're not even just the movie, but other stuff. We're not even going to get into that here.
Of course. It's just a theory.
But yeah, it was an interesting theory. I didn't necessarily get that or find that, but I also wasn't looking for it.
Of course.
Wesley Morris is a openly gay man. So maybe his lens is kind of filtered a little bit differently. And maybe he sees things the same way we have a black perspective. If I'm looking at something, I can automatically see the black perspective. Maybe he looked at it from that, from that perspective, and that's why he got there. I don't know, man. Like I know what it's like to love your brother.
Yeah,
like, I know what it's like to love your brother. It's just like if my brother came home and
you can still love your mans and be manly, dog.
Yeah, like so I never looked at it past that, but I'm not going to cut the legs under it of anything in that nature.
Okay, I'm trying to think about some of the hot takes. I should be putting them in notes because I be having hot takes I think about all the time, but I guess I'll jump around as far as some interesting things of who was right or wrong. So White Man Can't Jump.
Okay.
Billy at the very end. Sydney comes and says, "Hey, you owe me, dog. Look, the King and Duck is at the court right now. You owe me. I got you on Jeopardy because of my security connect. That's the way you got the girl back. I need you to come down here and help me now. I need to cash in my favor." Gloria says, pretty much she gives an ultimatum like, "No, Billy, you either go down to that court or you stay with me." But he's trying to tell her like, "Look, I owe him. After this, I'm done. I come back to you." What do you think about that scene as far as, do you think Gloria was in the right at that point? I mean, obviously he had a gambling problem, so I get where she was coming from. But do you think what was Billy supposed to do? I guess that's the question.
Billy's supposed to go with your girl, man. Supposed to go with your girl.
So you just got to deal with Sydney just being pissed after it, like.
Yeah, you just got to, man. That's plenty of
he
time.
wouldn't even have his girl back, right?
Yeah, I get that, but you know the stakes that it took to even get her back. And one of the things about relationships that there's so much sacrifice that goes into it. I don't see any reason as to why you put her on the back burner one more time. I get it. You owe your man's a favor. And a younger version of myself would be like, nah, man, I got to take care of my man. It's like, but if it's between losing your girl, it's a difference between your girl being mad or you losing your girl. Like, nah, bro, I got to take care of home first. Like always, first and foremost. So you got to do what you got to do, man. Sydney, you're going to be mad. I'll make it up to you. It's whatever.
Okay.
That's funny you mentioned that because that is a movie that I want to discuss with you. I know how you feel about White Man Can't Jump.
That's one of my favorites.
Also, going back to one of your earlier questions, I just thought of this. A movie that I liked when it came out and can't stand it now, The Blind Side. I saw The Blind Side in theaters in Toledo, Franklin Park Mall once again. I remember sitting in the theater. I was dolo. I remember sitting in the theater saying, Sandra's going to win an Oscar for this. I watched it maybe 3 years ago, and I was appalled at how they did Michael Oher. Like, I understand why he does not like that movie. Like, they played my man something vicious. And it's a completely different movie, especially when you start learning about white savior complex and all of that, man. It's a movie that was great. I loved it when it came out, but now it's like, nah. And I think I've already discussed this before, even though I have my own reasoning, was The Hangover. But that was more of an expectation thing. Like people were telling me that it was the funniest movie they've ever seen in their life. By the time I got to see it, my expectations were so high that it didn't meet it. But just how the narrative works around certain things and people run with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be.
That's good. That's Blind Side is crazy. A hot take for me. Oh, man. A hot take for me is Jamie Foxx is just an average actor. I think he had an exceptional performance in Ray, but either he's an average actor or he just have average films. I think he's the J-Lo in the black community. That's a hot take for me.
The J-Lo of the black community.
In regards to film, I think because these last few films, Sleepless, the Power thing, I'm like, bro, the zombie one, I'm like, to Daylight or whatever. I'm like, bro, these movies are garbage. I'm like, bro, Jamie.
You didn't like Sleepless?
Bro, there's a scene in Sleepless where he's in the car and they sat and panned on him for 5 minutes and waiting to get all of the reactions. He's like, man, he beating on the thing. I'm like, bro, move to the next scene. That's why I knew. I said, this is a terrible movie, bro. Like,
all right. So I enjoy Sleepless. I will say this, and this is going to be a conversation that's had when we discuss the movie we're discussing next week.
Okay.
There is something to be said about making the same movie over and over.
Okay.
And not as an actor, I mean as Hollywood. Like Hollywood gets to this point where they recycle these concepts and they just kind of remix them a little bit with different actors, but it's the same movie. You've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
And it's hard to kind of redo those. So I think he fell short on that. Did you watch The Burial?
The
Burial that came out in 2023 with him and Tommy Lee Jones.
He like a attorney or something?
Yes. Did you watch that?
That did look interesting, but because of all of the films, I'm like,
the Burial, Just Mercy, Django. What did you think about him in Django?
I like Django, but again, it's like, how hard is it to play a slave nigga?
Collateral.
I got to check that one out.
I love Collateral. I almost picked it recently. I probably will pick it before the year's out. I love Collateral.
Well,
One of the few Tom Cruise movies, and that's another hot take. Tom Cruise is probably the most overrated actor of all time.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
he's easy on the eyes. Like, I mean, we know what that is.
I don't get the appeal. Like even A Few Good Men, as much as I love that movie and the writing. Like,
did you like the movie with him in Cuba?
Jerry Maguire?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay,
I love it, but it's not a Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise just doesn't do it for me. He just doesn't.
Nah, Tom Cruise really ain't. Nah, but like I look at Miami Vice. He was in Jarhead.
Miami Vice is awful. It's an awful movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Booty Call. Like, I mean, some of this is like, okay, this is cultural classics, but these movies are not good. You know what I mean? He's been a part of good movies, but he's not the lead in it. So it's.
Any given Sunday, man. Like,
I liked him. I liked him in there.
Yeah, he's got some.
I think Jamie. I think he's gotten. I just think that people think he's better than what he is, and I think that Ray performance has like allowed him to do 4 or 5 terrible movies after.
But all actors. That's what we should have had a conversation about. Let's pencil that in. Let's pencil that in for another conversation one day about our heroes. Heroes might be a strong word. Not everybody looks at celebrities.
Heroes is crazy, right?
But our cultural giants in this space, and really talk about some of their bad movies. I've mentioned numerous times about Ricochet, starring Denzel. Came out in 1991.
I'm surprised you didn't go to his other movie, Virtuosity.
Virtuosity is terrible.
I actually wasn't mad at it, even though I know it's bad. But
Virtuosity?
Yeah. Because I feel like Denzel wasn't Denzel. That's the only reason I was like, you know what? He's not Denzel there.
There's the movie where it's an early Denzel movie, like maybe one of his first after the Oscar, the Glory Oscar, not Training Day, where he comes back. There's an attorney. He's an attorney, and he dies, but he comes back as like a guardian angel almost, in a sense. It's not even that. I'm describing this wrong. Either way, it's a terrible movie. I'm going to look it up here for anybody who's seen it, but it's awful. It's not good at all. But all of them have it. That's my whole point. Like, so I get what you're saying. Denzel wins his Oscar in '89, and then he has a run of bad movies. He has there's always a theory of one for you, one for me. Like, you can make this passion project and this piece that you want to talk about, but you're going to make the studio movie that's going to make some money. And that's just kind of what it is. Hold on. What is the name of this? It is... And then he went on his run in the 90s. Heart Condition. Heart Condition is what I'm talking about. It came out in 1990. So you have Glory in 89. I don't know if you've ever seen The Mighty Quinn.
No, not that one either. Nope.
He's playing a detective in Jamaica or one of the Caribbean islands. He has this weird accent. It's just
I seen some clips, bro.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but you know, it's watchable.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you have Heart Condition in 90, you have Mo Better Blues, which we've talked about, love Mo Better Blues.
Yeah.
And you have Ricochet in 91. And then you get into Malcolm X, and from there it's up. It's up.
When y'all do Out of Time, I know y'all spoke about it on the episode y'all just did with the Equalizer. Like, let me know, because that Out of Time, yeah, that's one of them. Like, it don't get the love it deserves, but it's so like the whole flip on it. Like, I love that movie, bro.
I love Out of Time. I love Out of Time. Like, I watched it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I ain't watching it. I might have to. Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
like
I got
last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago, I watched Devil in the Blue Dress.
I just seen that like a couple years ago.
That's about performances. Don Cheadle as Mouse.
Don Cheadle
as Mouse.
That's why the Culture Garden exists.
Scene stealer.
That's what
you talk about. Scene stealer.
Yeah.
Shit.
Don Cheadle, bro.
Don Cheadle came in. And
he is that guy for real. Like, I like Don. He is. I don't know what it is, but he just has that ability to draw you in, villain or not. Like, he just draws you in, bro. I really like Don Cheadle.
You know who he reminds me of? Or you know who reminds me of Don? Well, I don't want to say that. That's a whole nother conversation. But more than anybody, I think Damson has Don Cheadle. I think he's got some Don Cheadle in him.
I can see that. I
don't want to do the. I hate when NBA, like, when they do comparisons between, like, you know, when rookies or college players are coming out and they do their pro comp, and then you got the white guy and they compare him to another white guy. Like, I don't want to do the whole just because they both dark skinned. That's why I'm comparing them.
Oh, well, nah. Everybody know you bet like you deeper than that.
Yeah. But I do think that Don Cheadle doesn't get enough flowers for the things that he's, you know, provided to the culture. Yeah.
Man,
the whole point of that was everybody's got bad movies, man. He's up on my man.
Yeah, I know he do. But I just think that he's not as. I think we want to put him in that. If you want to talk about being a movie star, I think he's more. He fits that bill more than Will, by far.
So, see, the top 10. If you take just men, everybody knows I like to use the term actor as the art form itself.
Okay.
But when I say actor, I'm including women as well.
Okay.
Because if it wasn't for trying to specify gender, there would be no such thing as an actress. An actor is an actor, right? It's an art form. It's what you do.
Yes.
But if you're just speaking the traditional sense of actor, where you're talking about men, is he one of the top 10 black actors ever? Jamie Foxx?
No.
You don't think so?
You saying ever? Nah. You got Portier. You got dudes back in the day. You know what I mean? Like,
you got your ones that you got your ones that you're gonna think of. You got your Denzels, you got your Portiers, you got your Morgan Freemans, your Samuel Jacksons, your Harry Belafontes.
Yeah.
That come off the top. Maybe your Lawrence Fishburnes. Your Forrest Whitakers. That's 6. Forrest Whitaker 7. I mean, I don't see why he can't crack that bottom 3.
Nah, okay. I'm gonna find 3 actors better. Hold on.
Michael B. Jordan.
You got Will Smith. He's a better actor than Jamie Foxx. Like, what are we talking about?
Okay.
All right. So that's 2. We got 2 left.
And there's some I'm sure that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head.
I'm about to say Eddie. I do like Eddie as an actor, but people don't probably give him credit like that. Would you put Don ahead
of Jamie?
Yeah. What do you think about Wesley?
I'm probably putting Wesley ahead of him. If we had more time with the late great Chadwick, man, I think Chadwick would.
Yeah, Chadwick for sure.
Top 5. Oh yeah, you're right. Because Jeffrey Wright.
That's what I'm like, bro. There's a lot of people in front of Jamie. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. That's a conversation.
As far as just male actors, you know.
That's a project that we've discussed a long time ago. That we want to bring to fruition. It's one of those projects where you can always do it. It's not a timetable on it, but we will be having a top 50 black actors, including.
I put Mekhi Phifer above him.
All right, man. What's your next question, dog?
We ain't gonna do that. He just ain't got enough looks, man. That's all. I get it. But Mekhi Phifer's good when he got the spot, you know.
I love Mekhi. Man.
Look at. What about Hill Harper?
Stop talking to me, bro. Stop it, man. Are you just? I know we're doing an episode of Sopranos, and it's got Hill Harper in it next week. You know, I know the next episode.
All right.
Yeah, I know the next episode of Sopranos that we review has a guest appearance by Hill Harper, but you got to relax.
Okay, 2 more people I want to ask. Or do you think they're better than Jamie? Would you say Cuba Gooding Jr.?
See, this goes back to the argument you made, man. It's hard to think about Cuba. Of course, you think of Boys in the Hood, you think of Jerry Maguire, you think of Men of Honor, but you also got to think of Fighting Temptations and what's that shit when he was on the boat? Oh. Not even Radio. I'm not even touching that. But what's that shit? The Love Boat. Yeah, a lot of things I can say that I'm not going to say right now. Was it the Love Boat or some shit that he was on? He was to be a gay man to get with this woman.
Oh,
yeah, man. Like it's just when you think about it, it's like, man, I can't. Like Hov said, man, it's good being Bobby Brown to be Bobby then. You got to be Bobby now. Like, so if I'm gonna take the good, I got to take the bad with him. Okay. From an acting perspective and a talent perspective, I'm probably going with Jamie. But they're in the same tier. Yeah.
What about Terrence Howard?
That's the one that I was thinking about.
Okay. Terrence, people be playing with Terrence's name, and I don't really like. I really don't like it. To be honest.
Yeah, he might not even be for real. Somebody we really ain't giving enough flowers to is Lorenz Tate.
Oh, Lorenz. They ain't. We ain't.
Yeah, Boat Trip.
Jamie and
Boat
Lorenz.
Trip is the movie I'm thinking of. Boat Trip.
Okay.
And I own Fighting Temptations. I just want that to be like
that Fighting Temptation. That music is heat, boy.
Yeah, I don't want to play like I'm brand new to it, but it's still a silly ass movie. Lorenz is that's somebody I advocate for. He does
Lorenz, he's different. I mean, I would say Clifton Powell.
I'm not the top better than Jamie. Nah,
I don't think I think Jamie. I think we ride that Ray wave heavy, and when we look at everything else, like what did he do exceptional outside of Ray?
I really stop it. See, now you bugging. I really hope Ray P listens to this episode. Not even that. I want to hear her like next week when we record. I want to hear her response. I want to hear her response to this whole Jamie conversation.
Yes,
because now you just throwing out names at this point. You've been a little bit
because I'm telling you, it's like everything he's done. I mean, he's done the solid. Like he's been in good films. He's done the job. But like when we talk about standouts, we're not running down a list of Jamie films.
Bushido Brown and Ali, his performances.
He's not. I'm talking about the lead. I'm talking about the lead.
All right, now you're talking about leads.
That's what I'm saying, because I'm looking at this is a Jamie film, not Jamie was a part of the film. Like we look at Denzel, we're looking at the Denzel films, not he was the co-star. No, we're looking at him as the lead. So when we're talking Jamie, him as the lead. When we look at, we don't have enough dope material to say, he's next to. It's easy to come in, and I ain't gonna say easy, but it's not as challenging to come in and be a part of an ensemble or to play your part and figure out your role in the movie. But to be the lead, you carry the whole movie and possibly franchise on your back. So I think we just give Jamie more than I just think we give him way too much. And he got a lot more. I don't know, bro. There's something that hit me a year ago at least. I'm like, man, you know what?
I get what you're saying. I think you're bugging, but I understand your point. And my apologies. R.I.P. to the late great. We recently lost him, Lou Gossett Jr. That's somebody who should definitely have been in that conversation when I went through those early names. Like he's been in so much.
Yeah.
I posted a clip of Raisin in the Sun the other day. Maybe even your James Earl Jones. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people, man, who that's another one we can kind of put in the
I think a Jamie Foxx
conversation. The second tier, the second teamers.
Yeah.
Maybe not the B-listers. Mm-hmm. Maybe the ones who never had the chance from Hollywood to carry a film or franchise, but man, if you get them as your two man, the D Wades of it all.
You look at him as a number
the ones
two?
Who are good enough. No, what I'm saying is he ended up being one with LeBron. Right. Obviously, D Wade won a chip by himself, and I think that's why he's the perfect comparison.
Okay.
If you have D Wade as your number one, you still are good enough to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you just need a lot of help and the right pieces around him. Okay, so it's not like hey, I'm going to carry this team by myself, but there's still an opportunity. But if he's your number two, if he's not the star, he's the number two, automatic. Like you in the finals every year. Like you competing for a ring.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think there's a lot of actors who I think should be in that, consideration.
The B tier is Wendell Pierce in that B tier. Or is he in the C tier?
Yeah, even though he should be in Wendell Pierce he's an elite level talent. Like Jeffrey Wright. Like Jeffrey Wright is probably the captain of the B team.
Yeah, he's cold.
He's phenomenal, man. He's so cold.
Yeah,
he's so
bro.
cold with it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. There's so many places I would love to take, but I don't want to hold you up. But I love these.
You're
are
good,
like
man. Go ahead.
Okay, because I'm about to say the quick hits. I'm like, bro, I could probably do a whole nother. I mean, low key, like I'm like, I could do it. This could be
before you ask them. All right, and we can definitely do them and then wrap things up. But before we do, is there anything else that you want to? I know we've been talking movies at this point. Just from a creator standpoint, I think that we pretty much cover everything in that first part that you want to discover.
I would say so, unless there's something that you genuinely, want to ask, or it's like something that came across your mind that like, I wanted to ask you something. But I mean, for me, I would say so.
We'll have time for that because I think we've had enough space to where you and Spike are our friends and family to the point where we made it its own solo episode.
That's true.
I've been on another week in the books and asked you plenty of questions. So I personally don't have anything. I think if you are a long-term listener of Culture Garden, you know enough about Mo and just how we connected and how that whole origin story came with this brotherhood. So I don't think we need to rehash that part. But there's always going to be check-ins. Maybe we'll have some check-ins a few times a year. And kind of just see how we're feeling and if we're really holding up our end of the bargain when it comes to being in this space. But in that regard, what else? What other quick hits you got, man? I love to chop it up with you about a few.
All right. So what do you think is a black classic or we hold as a black classic that you just personally feel like it's low-key overrated to me? I get it. It's good. I understand why people like it. But to me, it's a little overrated.
Overrated black classic?
And I'll jump out there first if you need a second to think.
Well, go ahead.
I'm going to say Poetic Justice.
I can see that. You know what? It's funny you said that because that's one.
Yeah.
That's one that I was going to kind of discuss. But go ahead.
It's a good movie. I enjoy it. I like to see black men in a regular element. So let me be very clear. Now I'm regular, so to speak. But it seems like it was trying to go for this. I'm never a fan when people try to be deep and you don't really capture it properly. It throws me all the way out. And it's like they try to be deep where her boyfriend got killed at the drive-in. And, she kind of goes through that, that phase, which is real. But then it's like, I don't know. I guess it's just like, I don't know how redeemable her character felt to me. I think Tupac in Chicago, we didn't really understand their friendship, where they just work buddies or were they like real homies. Then we get all the way down for him like, oh, I'm trying to meet my cousin and do this record thing. And it's just a lot of little fuzzy things that I felt like it's cool. It's got some funny moments like the baby daddies. Tone Loc, man. Shouts out to Tone Loc. But it just feel like it was trying to figure out a deep place to take it, even in the name Poetic Justice, but it just wasn't. It didn't quite curl over.
That's a good question. Nothing's coming to mind other than the ones that I've already kind of discussed. You know how this always works, man. I can't think of one, and as soon as we in this recording,
you're gonna text me like
10 of them are gonna come to my head.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my dome. Like I do think that, I guess in the same light of that conversation, I think there are movies that come out that are overhyped right away.
Yeah.
And that's not to say they're not good movies, but I think there are some overhype. And I'm guilty of it as well. I think the most recent one was American Fiction. I like the movie. I enjoy the movie. I enjoy the acting. I enjoy the pieces in it. Is it as good as what people made it to be? No, it's not. And that's just kind of what comes with it.
That's okay. I got another
maybe
question.
Even, and it's been a while since I watched this movie, so I don't know.
Actually, I got another one too.
I might be holding on to my experience and just what it was like seeing this for the first time. Maybe Get Out.
It's a little overrated, really?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't watched Get Out in some years. So I really haven't had that.
It still hold up. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, they gassed it for sure.
I would be surprised if it didn't. I will say this: Nope. Nope was one.
Now, Nope is
that I enjoy the film, but it's not as good as what people were saying. Like, so I need to settle down.
Yeah, definitely. For me personally, this is just me personally. I'm not really into it, but Life for me. I know. Everybody listen like, oh, yo, don't have him on the podcast no more. No, Maurice Hunter III, Mo, get him out of here. This man just said Life. The only reason I say that Life,
50.
Culture
Garden episode 50.
Yes. It's just for me. Everybody's specific to their humor. When it comes to Life for me, I never really find it funny. It's quotable. I remember growing up, you're gonna eat your cornbread, all those classic phrases in the 90s and into the 2000s. But like, it never really resonated for me. I've always watched this film and thought to myself, like, and this is just me being morbid, I guess. I'm always like, how can I turn this into a serious tone? And even when I'm watching it, I'm seeing it from a serious tone. I never seen it as a humor. So for me, it always feels overrated because people talk about how funny it is, and it ain't funny to me. It never was. Like, from the moment they get locked up, they get falsely accused, they end up getting old in there. Like, and then they talk, oh, can't get, like, I just never look at the film as funny. I always look at it seriously. And that's not the way to view it. But I can't see it any other way. Like, niggas really got shot trying to run away out past the gun line. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just never see it that way. So maybe it's not overrated, but maybe it's not as funny to me.
You look at it from a different perspective. You don't look at it as from the jokes. You look at it as, yo, man, this is kind of traumatic.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a great point. And I have to revisit our episode to see if we discussed that at all, because that's one of those things you pick up on as you get older. But you are right. Like, it's a sad story.
Yeah.
On its own. Like, yo, man, what you mean these black men have been in jail since 1940 something, and they still in there, and they had their they had a warrant that was going to let them out, but he died, so they're still in there some extra years. Like, that's rough. You're right. You're right.
I want to ask, which movie is better, Blank Man or Meteor Man?
I have, full transparency. I love Blank Man.
Okay.
I like Blank Man more than Mo Money.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Blank Man. Which one is more important? Meteor Man.
Well, yeah.
Which one am I watching first? Blank Man.
Yeah, Blank Man.
Yeah, Blank Man is actually underrated.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another. Speaking of overrated movies, I've said this before. So if you listen to us, this isn't really, breaking news. But I think White Chicks is super overrated.
Oh man, I'm with you on that, brother. Like, that movie,
White Chicks is severely overrated. Like,
and I don't know if it because I'm a black man. I think it's got something to do.
I don't even know if it's that for me. I don't think it's that good.
Honestly, I don't think it's that good. And I know y'all did a Wayne's Brother episode, but like, I don't think that I'm not going to even say that. I'm not going to even go there.
Meteor Man is just to answer that specifically. Meteor Man is more important, but Blank Man is a better movie. Like, I'm picking Blank Man to watch.
Would you say Boomerang is the best black rom-com of all time? Or is there anything else that would come to mind when we think rom-com films?
That's a great question. So Love Jones is not a rom-com. It's a romance movie.
Brown Sugar, would you say that's rom-com?
Yeah, but Boomerang.
Oh, that's another overrated movie too. Sorry for me. That's overrated.
Not who for you?
Yeah, Brown Sugar is. Yeah,
I think that the more time you get away from Brown Sugar, and then you go back to revisit it, I think it's a little bit more difficult.
Why you say that?
I don't think it's overrated by any means in the same way that you're saying it. But I understand why you say that. I understand why you say that.
It's not. Sorry, they just didn't cast it right. That's my opinion. But yeah,
I'm not even mad at the casting. Yeah, I think Boomerang is. I think it's the best rom-com, the black rom-com of all time.
It's better than Delivers from Eva.
Oh, absolutely! Come on, man. What are we talking about?
No, I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
Yeah, that's one of those. Is the Best Man a rom-com? Maybe that's in the discussion.
If the Best Man's a rom-com, then it's Best Man. But
Best Man's a rom-com, then yeah, that's the one.
But is it meant to be funny? Is there anything that's really meant to be funny about Best Man for real?
That's the thing. I think it leans closer to
just romance.
I think Best Man leans closer to Love Jones than it does Boomerang.
Okay.
I do think same with like Stella. I think Stella's a romance.
Stella definitely is a romance, like in a drama.
Yeah, but I think that I'll tell you a wildly underrated rom-com. Okay. Two can play that game.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's underrated. Because there's some things that don't make sense about that film. But I do think it's a good. I love the element of the chase of it. Like, and Vivica was in her bag. I mean, she shouts out to Indy. You know what I'm saying? She's from my city. You feel me? So
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, one of my personal favorites. So, Boomerang's up there in its own tier. I do think Coming to America is a rom-com. Excuse me.
Yep.
It's a com-rom. Let me take that back.
Com-rom. Yes, it's a com-rom.
Coming to America is a com-rom. If I was to make my list, just personal preferences, not getting to the schematics of what's the best, this, and the third. Mm-hmm. There's two rom-coms that I can put on at any given time of the day and watch them over and over again and never get tired. Hitch.
Fire.
About Last Night.
Okay. I like those.
I love those two movies. Like, I love About Last Night more than I love Think Like a Man.
You like Think Like a Man, though?
I do like Think Like a Man.
Okay.
That's another one that's...
I know people dog it sometimes, but... Well,
yeah, the second was awful. Second was awful. It's up there with worse. It's not as bad as Why Did I Get Married Too? But yeah, okay. Think Like a Man 2 is not good. It's not a good movie. Like that. That's the definition of a money grab.
Do you think The Wood is a rom-com?
I look at that as a coming of age story. The Wood is one of my favorite movies.
What category would it be?
Coming of age, I guess. If you were to if coming of age was its own category.
No, I'm putting your feet to the fire. You are the film guy that I look to. So what category are we looking at that as? Well, drama,
romance.
Drama, romance. Okay.
Drama, romance.
Okay.
Drama, romance. I'll tell you a romance movie that's not of the culture. And if you watch it, you're gonna be the first thing you wouldn't think is romance. But romance is in the title. True Romance.
Is it with our guy?
Yeah, with James Gandolfini.
I still ain't seen that, bro. I feel so bad, man.
True Romance is yeah, man. Damn. I think The Wood has just a little too much drama in it.
You think so?
Just a tad bit to be a rom-com.
It's a lot of rom-com. It's okay because the funny they're doing. Yeah, it is a well, it's like the funny they're doing is not like, oh, we're going
it's natural everyday funny.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is funny. Like I'm under Stacy's bed reaching for the condom. I gotta,
It's the relatable experience funny. Like I've been in this situation as well. That's why it's funny to me. Not because it's engineered that way. It's just more so the same way stand-up comics. Eddie Murphy, how he was explaining it in Nutty Professor. Like, ain't it crazy? You know what I'm saying? You can sit up here and say, look at your foot, and everybody look at your foot and start laughing. Like, it's more of a stand-ups are funny because it's truthful. Yeah. And people laugh because they can relate. They've been through that experience. Oh, it's crazy he said that because I know exactly what he means. I think the wood is more of that. And if it wasn't as much, that's why I say it's more of a coming of age. I think it's just got just a tad bit too much drama. I was just talking about the wood the other day, man. Sit your motherfucking crybaby ass in the back.
Hey,
These little kids got more heart than you.
Yeah, he was talking to J. Cole at that moment. Nigga Cole losing sleep on this. It ain't me. All right, so rom-com. What was your? I can't remember what you said your favorite genre was.
My favorite genre of movie? Probably rom-com if I'm just watching something, because I like things being light. I like looking at that aspect of it. But overall, thrillers.
Thriller, yeah.
Thriller, suspense, that's my bag. Mystery. Like so the movie.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm going to say that, like the movie Derailed, the first time I saw it. I love movies with a twist and things like that. Trigger warning for anybody who's never seen Derailed. Sexual assault, trigger warning. I don't want to alarm people or anything like that in that nature, but absolutely, that's one that's in my bag.
Is there any? Do you feel like you said you came from a writing background at one point that was a desire of yours, and maybe still could be? Is there any film that is in one genre that if you could rewrite it today to take it to another genre, you would? Like kind of like I spoke about with Life, where it's a comedy, but for me, in my mind, how I view it, it's not a comedy. If I could rewrite it, I would write it more. This would be an Oscar worthy. I mean, not based on my pen, but just like the vision of it all. And so is there any films we look at these classic OG films that you look back like, if I could rewrite it for another genre, or this could fit a whole nother genre if they take this direction? Have you ever considered any films in particular that could work that way?
I know for a fact that I have, and for some reason I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It sounds like you're leaning towards like the whole Bel Air concept.
Yes.
And I know for a fact that I've had this conversation with people, and I cannot think of whatever movie we were talking about. I'm gonna sit on that for a while, pause, and think of it. I got a question for you while I think of an answer on that.
Okay.
Is there anyone that you haven't? Because I've been on your case about, hey man, it might be a good week to have Ray P on another week in the books. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for the Ray P episode. She's been on there before with me. I'm waiting on the solo Rachel, Spike, Maurice episode. But in that vein, is there anyone that you've ever wanted to record with that you know and have access to that you just haven't recorded with? Whether we know them or not. It doesn't have to be somebody that I know.
That I haven't recorded with that I would like to.
You haven't recorded with, but you just know, like, man, we could cook something up and it would be a great episode. Whether they're podcasters or not. Just somebody that
like, but I know them, though.
You know them. And like I said, they don't have to be anybody that we know. Like, and it doesn't have to be like an AB where I know he does other podcasts. It could just be somebody like, man, this is somebody I know from this, that, and the third that I would just love to talk movies with. The same way I have like Brian. Like, shout out to my boy Brian. Like, Brian's been on a few episodes with us. That's somebody starting out where I knew, like, all right, man, when we talk about movies, like, he loves movies just as much as us. I know we can weave him into some episodes.
I would say I don't know her personally, but shouts out to school. We were going to do a review of a film. Well, I could put it out there because it's not going to happen. Yeah, and I don't want to even do the film anymore anyway. But we were going to do enough. So we're going to do enough, the Jennifer Lopez film, and it was going to be me, School, and Mia. So that would have been my first time meeting her, but I respect her her skill level. I know that she's an avid listener, and she came on here she's been on here a few episodes, and I respect what she does. I think she's exceptional in this space. So I'll probably say someone like her, probably in this vein, like we spoke about, trying to make something kind of connect here in the Culture Garden umbrella. Probably just her, but I mean, I don't know her, but probably her. But outside of that, not really. I didn't record it kind of with all my bros that I feel could be talented enough. There's probably a few of Spike's friends maybe, But his dad, I would say his dad, like we definitely want to get him on for an episode. But that's about it. I've kind of even some of the people that I looked up to, like it was you and Spike and another podcaster that really got me started in this space. I got to record with. I got to do the work I wanted to do. So as far as people that I know are like certain degrees of separation now, I think that she's probably the only person I would say.
You remember I had an idea for you and Mia.
Yeah, I ain't forgot.
Tied into the Culture Guard. Yeah. So that would be dope. Shout out, that's dope, man. That's a good answer. I know what movie I was thinking of, but it's not of the culture.
Okay.
We had the conversation, and that's why I was on the top of my head, because you and I actually had the conversation on SGP, Power Rangers. Okay. Like the darker tone of Power Rangers, something that I would love to kind of introduce and make that. We talked about the YouTube clip that came out. I forget what it's called.
That was fire. I watched it too. I never got to tell you that.
Yeah, man. We just talked about that and how dope that was. I don't know. That's a great question. I think that there's something there.
Here's another question, and let me know whenever you want to shut it down. Is there any films you could think of that's like, man, this would work either better as a series or it would really work today as a series?
Oh, that a film that would work better as a series? Ali.
Yeah. Yep.
100% Ali is the first thing that comes to mind. I think anytime you have somebody like that, a historical figure in that sense, you can give them the space to go ahead and just tell the full story, because there's so much more to life than what they can put into 2 hours or 2 hours and 20 minutes, whatever it is. Let's see. What other films could we make into a series?
There's quite a bit, to be honest. I think that when you look at the layers of it, I think there's quite a bit.
I think that Any Given Sunday, as much as I love that film, you remember that show? Remember the show?
Oh man, I know what you're talking about, the ESPN show.
On ESPN, yeah,
bro,
man.
That show was so good. We must protect this house.
Omar Gooding was in it. Cuba's brother. I know we spent some time talking about him.
Omar Gooding.
That would be one.
I gotta find.
I would love to.
Like but that would be the version of you're saying like Any Given Sunday would be similar to that.
Yeah, kind of similar to it. Kind of takes you more on a week by week, day by. Like I think that if you made so here's a show that I absolutely love. It's just outside of my top 5.
I think it was Playmakers.
Yeah, Playmakers. That was it. A film, or excuse me, a TV series that I love that I would love to make darker is Friday Night Lights. And what I mean by darker is instead of having it on NBC, you move it to HBO. And you have a mix of what you already have with a little bit of euphoria, with a little bit of like what's really going on in high school, the recruitment process, and you mix in a little He Got Game in there.
See, that's where I was going to go next.
Yeah, I think that He Got Game?
Yeah, He Got Game, yep.
Yeah, I think that if you took Friday Night Lights, the television series, and mixed it in with Dangerous, I don't want to say Dangerous Minds, but just some real niggas. Because I think Friday Night Lights definitely captures the small town, everything shuts down on Friday nights, we're going to go support this team. I think it captures that exceptionally well. Exceptional acting on that show. But if you made it a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Because there's other things that they couldn't cover on the network, on like NBC, that you can really talk about and really dive into.
I like that.
Instead of 27 episodes a season, you give it your 10 or 12 episodes. You kind of make it more gritty.
Yeah, I like that.
Around high school, I think I would love to see a version of that. And that's something that me and one of my boys actually talked about. One conversation. When I say talked about, it's not like we developed anything. But one conversation about developing something like that.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, I would like to get with you on like pushing you. I want to push you to write something as far as we're going to do a Back of the Bing episode, and I want to make sure that by the time we get there, everybody's comfortable with how we're going to do it. And I want to send some things that'll put you into space, because I'm so confident in you and doing that, and I don't want it to be like I couldn't think of nothing. You know, I think you could really. I think both of y'all could really. But anyway, I think that was fire. I would say He Got Game. Do it in the style of Raising Kanan. You give it that like real grit. You give it that real kind. You know what I mean? That real kind of.
You ever seen? Not to interrupt you, my bad. I was just talking to Jordan. Shout out to Jordan. You ever seen Hoop Dreams?
No
documentary.
Nope. No. I've seen
it's one of the best documentaries ever made. You can make the argument it's the best sports documentary made, especially if you don't count. Yeah, because People versus OJ.
I about to say Made in America. Yeah, that was.
It had sports elements because OJ is a Hall of Fame football player, or was a Hall of Fame football player. But that's one of the best documentaries I've seen. But Hoop Dreams was the first documentary that really was like, oh wow. And it still holds up. But I think, to your point, if you made He Got Game one of those things where, how did Jesus become the number one player in the country? And we see that rise on top of Jake being in jail and the whole nine. I think there are so many layers that you can build to make an incredible series.
Season 2, Jake come out. You know what I mean? Like that whole, like it could slow build that whole thing. Jake gets out. And like I just see this whole Raising Kanan, that's this kind of grittier version of that. You know, I definitely think He Got Game.
College years, I definitely think you can go there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else. I know we're getting close to a couple hours on this.
Yeah, you might got 2 episodes.
Yeah, we might, man. We're gonna see. I'm gonna figure it out.
You the producer, you the leader, you got it however, but I definitely feel like this is 2 episodes, low-key.
Yeah, we might have 2 episodes. One person, I asked you the question. One person I have to get on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I mentioned him before. All right, you guys don't know him. Some people do. Rachel knows him. School knows him. I don't think anybody else really out there knows who he is. But my brother, Pierre.
I've heard him on here.
Someone who is right up there when it comes to film knowledge. A lot of the stories, I've told the story about him when we did the American Gangster episode, about how me and Pierre, man, the classic, Pierre came home from the barbershop with the bootleg American Gangster. We was ready. We popped that joint in the living room. We saw that first scene of Frank Lucas shooting dude while he was on fire, and we looked at each other like, nah, we got to see this in theaters.
Yeah. That's fire, bro.
We bought our tickets, and we went to, like I said, I remember where we sat in the movie theaters. The theater was so packed, we had to sit in the front. This is before you could pick your seats. This is 2007. Mm-hmm. So we made our way to the left side of the theater and to the front, and we watched that whole movie. But you just talk about someone that I've had countless movie conversations with, who loves film, who got me hip to movies that I wasn't hip to, Sugar Hill, just certain things. Yeah, just certain movies that I'd never seen. And he was like, nah, man, we gonna, you know, I always make fun of Pierre, man, because he got this weird thing where he would eat ice cream, but the ice cream, he would put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, that shit's weird. Pierre got a lot of like weird quirks, like, and that comes from living with your bro.
Yeah,
pick up on things.
Yeah,
like
I got bros Pierre, like that too. Yeah,
I remember Pierre with he would go to sleep, but he would sleep with the covers over his head.
Oh wow!
It was just like different. Serial killer behavior. Like, yeah,
he gonna listen, be like, no, you didn't, bro. You really put you calling me Joe Goldberg right now.
Nah, that's my dog, man. But he, like, his love for film is like right up there with ours. And I got so many things from just chopping it up with him. I think I've told the story about how we used to go to Best Buy on Tuesdays, and not just with film, but with music too, man. Like, he's just a true historian. Like, he was the only person I know that was out here buying Asher Roth CDs and stuff like that, just because.
Wow, deep.
Yeah, man. Just because, like, the new music dropped. I'm into music. I want to listen to everything. You know what I mean? I know I mentioned J. Cole earlier, but Illuminati on Born Center, he had a line like, rap nerd, even cop Rod Digga. Like, I'm such a nerd about this shit. I'm copping Rod Digga. I'm copping everything. And that's how he was. Just very neat and precise about how he is about life, man. Just one of the coolest person I know, man. That's my dog. I could see like a gangster movie series with him. Like he used to joke that he wanted to name his first born Santino off of Godfather. Like just movies that we just sit back and just watch and enjoy the artistry of them, and just the intricate stuff. It's almost to a point where the average movie fan wouldn't even like it. It's so
y'all different.
Intricate. There's this podcast right now called, I forget what it's called, but JJ Redick and LeBron. And I love it because it's nerd talk. It's nerd X's and O's. It's not just, hey, this hot take about this player versus that player. It's like, hey, we're running this out of bounds sideline play with 5 seconds left. What are you drawing up? It's that type of thing. And that's how me and him would get about films. So I would love to have Pierre on to maybe talk about some of the things that we've discussed countless of times, especially Godfather. I've already told him a long time ago, like whenever we get into Godfather, you got to be on that episode because – like, come on. Like, that's just our bag.
See, that's what I'm saying. Now we got to, like, well, I guess we'll come in, the Good Earner crew will come in on Godfather too.
Yeah, no, we're going to figure it out. We're going to work it all together.
Because I like it's all in that vein and it's fire, man.
Yeah, we're going to work it all together, man. I got the music idea that I really want to get popping. I think you and K-Rob, if Ray P doesn't have enough time to really do it, or the three of y'all, because I think 3 people is the perfect idea. My idea.
3 is the perfect. 3 is the perfect.
Yeah, you know my idea. And also, just shout out to you because, what you were doing with So Far Pod. I meant to say this earlier.
Uh-oh.
I texted you this morning about an episode, which I was loving. I'm enjoying it. The Sicko Mode segment. You got to change the title a little bit.
Okay. What do we need to change to?
So Far Pod is perfect. An objective podcast about Drake's music, and I mean this as a compliment.
I know what you meant.
Such fans, in a good and healthy way.
Yeah.
If I didn't know you, I would expect like a little bit more objectivity. You do it when the time comes. You guys don't. You aren't super fans, which is why I love the podcast because it's not like a. It's not like a Drake, like super stand type of thing. I respect the fandom. It's almost like when we come in here and talk about movies.
Yeah.
And we love the movies. Like it is what it is. However, the joy that I got on my face, and I'm not a Drake guy like that. I'm not a Drake guy like that.
I believe you.
But I love hearing you and your sister talk about them. You guys, today's episode was about the top 10 Drake features. You both had your own list. Lists will never go out of style. I don't care who you are. They cause conversation. They're always a good talking point. I loved it. In real time, as you were discussing them, there were songs I hadn't heard in a while. I'm running them back. I'm at the gym running them back and stuff like that. But I was like, all right, maybe they should say a podcast about Drake's music with objectivity.
Okay. So reword it around a little bit.
Just reword it around a little bit, because, and I know you, so a little bit of that is I know you well enough to know there is an objectiveness to it, more than what it could be.
Okay, so I give
but if I didn't know, I'd be like, all right, maybe I'll be looking for
these niggas is lying. They're not objective.
You guys are legit fans, but I love it, and I love to talk to you. We'll talk off camera about. I think that could be a series that goes on with multiple rappers.
Okay.
I've already started outlining the Jay-Z episodes. What I mean? There's other rappers I'd love to get in that bag because what you're doing with it that's so dope is you're setting up a story. You're taking this, and this goes back to what my whole music idea was that I'm still going to launch. Is taking you back to a time and repainting the picture. Like this is what it was like before Drake was Drake. Let's talk about Degrassi. Let's talk about we're building up to. We're building a timeline of where it started to where it is now, and we're taking these steps with you as an audience. And then there's obviously the side episodes like your, 9 reasons why Drake won the beef, which I think is as funny as the title sounds. I think it was an objective piece.
Yeah.
So that's one I will give y'all credit for. But I just love the chemistry that you and Ash have. And the same way I read that message from Shara about how it feels like they're in the living room with us when we're having these conversations, that's how I felt when I'm with y'all. Like I feel like I grew up in the house that y'all grew up in, and I'm hearing y'all discuss these songs and these moments for the first time over again. You're reliving this time in your life. And I just think that's incredible to get invited into something so intimate and so intricate. So I love the work that you're doing, man. I didn't know what to expect because, and I've told you this, the timing of the launch, you had mentioned the idea to me before you dropped an episode, and then obviously the beef happened, and the internet's going to take over what it needs to take over. And I was like, man, this might not be the best time to drop this. You might want to let this settle down, but you dropped it, and I've been very impressed because I think it does bring some balance to things. I'm team Kendrick. If we picking, if you guys listen to our episode of The Photograph, there was a Kendrick versus Drake conversation.
Oh yeah.
We brought it to the episode. Everybody knows how I feel about it. Everybody knows how I feel about Drake. I always said Drake is cool.
Yeah.
I dap him up in the hallway, but we wouldn't sit at the same lunch table.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. I've never been to a Drake concert because I've never really felt the urge. This is going to piss you off. You're going to want to end the interview. I've been to Currency concerts.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? Like actively,
that's nasty.
Actively look to go to Currency concerts. Actively, like Currency coming. Like what cities? I travel for.
Get this man on Deck TV immediately, because what in the world? This man said
I've been to Currency concerts, but never. Now I will say there's one that my boy Phil, he always says it's the best concert he went to. The Drake versus Wayne concert. I missed that.
Oh, we're doing an episode, Drake versus Wayne.
Yeah, I remember you teased it, but that would be great. I know the best concert I've ever gone to was Watch the Throne. Incredible concert. I have a story behind that, man, about me missing my flight. Whole thing. I'll save that for another day whenever I'm on a music podcast. But I do want to salute you. Everybody knows how I feel about Another Week in the Books and how important that is. Good Earners, something I'm a part of.
I'm loving it. Maurice
and Spike were so gracious enough to invite me in season 2. And we've been rocking ever since. We're on season 5 now.
Yeah.
All of your work, man. Roll. I told you about Roll and how Roll is one of those things that it's so easy to mess up. It's so easy to mess up because you're doing it by yourself. It can sound, it's so easy to be corny, cheesy, but it's not. It's really good. I remember listening to it for the first time and hitting you up in real time, like, yo, what's going to happen next? I'm like, Robin, what the fuck's going on with Robin? Like all this stuff, man, that I was just intrigued with.
Yeah.
Like, and I burned through those 3 episodes and ran them back.
Yeah.
And I was hitting you up on the regular, like, bro, when the new season coming? Like, stop playing.
You still be like,
playing. What's up? So you just a talented individual, man. And I don't say that because I know you. I think we got close because I fell in love with your work first.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same here.
I got to know your work before I got to know you.
Yeah.
And that is what kind of started this brotherhood.
Absolutely.
And then I found out you're just an incredible human being.
All right.
And the rest, as they say, is history. So I just want to salute you on all that you're doing, because to wrap up this whole creators on creators concept, I think that it is important to let you know your work is seen and is appreciated, and it's not just on some, because we've had conversations also, as much as we're fans of each other, we've also had real conversations like, that might not be it. And that might not be the lane, that might not work. You might want to shelf that. You might want to, the listeners might not know that, but we've had those where, hey, what you think about this? Like, I don't know about that.
I'm cool.
Or you put something out like, I'm cool on this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I want everyone to go out there and check out Maurice's work because it's very unique. I've always said it, and I think you're finally coming around to it. When Spike and myself say things like, "Hey, man, I don't know anybody like you. You are one of one," and you do the laugh you just did right there. You gotta do the look away with the laugh, like, all right, here we go.
Because y'all know a lot of people. That's why I be like, bro, like, come on. Like, I'm not.
No, there's nobody like you. Maurice is one of one. I've never met anybody like you. Your ability to just be living in your truth, man, and just to be comfortable with honesty. In today's age, we don't have a lot of people who are comfortable with honesty and comfortable being themselves, comfortable being the guy. I wasn't always that nigga. Maybe I don't feel like I'm that nigga now. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I was a cool kid like the rest of y'all. Like, I'm not going to act like I was somebody tough. We always have the ability whenever we change spaces to recreate ourselves. I always talk about it like college. Like, when you go to college, when you leave high school, you left high school and go to college. There were plenty of times when I went to the University of Toledo. That's how I met Rachel. there are plenty of times I come home for a break, and there'd be people in the city, and I'm hearing people talk about him a certain way. And I'm like, this nigga? No shade or no diss to them, but like that's not who this person is. Yeah. Or as someone who's in a fraternity, being in college, there would be, incoming freshmen. And you might see some like people who are new to school or freshmen who will be talking about a certain person. And I'll be like, man, you should have seen them before they had letters. Like, seen them before they was great. That's not who they are. This is all a front of the image. Rolex diamonds. That's not who they really are. Yeah, those ain't Rolex diamonds. What the fuck you done to that? And I just appreciate authenticity and people being who they are. And as I mentioned earlier, accepting those ifs, talking about those losses. Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to you, man. As I said earlier, we had no idea how long this was going to be. I don't know if I'm going to chop it up in two or if we're just going to let it rock. We'll see, man. I don't know. I got a day to decide. But go ahead. What
you got a day to decide? It's crazy. I don't want to say I appreciate you, brother. I do appreciate you supporting and going over there listening. I get it. If people are not Drake fans like that, it's not the popular hot thing to do, and you don't even have to do it. Like I already know you're going to support in general, just from Good Earner standpoint of listening and being a part of it, and Another Week in the Books. So you really don't even have to go over there. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I listened to it. I did my due diligence. I listened once. I see what you're doing. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna keep it moving. But the fact you came back at least for 2 episodes, I'm grateful. That means so much to me. And it's funny you said that because
I'm sorry, real quick, Mo. Yeah. Just for reference, I want to throw this out there because, like I said, I'm not a Drake fan, but me and Spike would be on Mo's head in the group chat about the Kendrick Drake beat to the point where I knew it was something that we couldn't bring up anymore. We just couldn't bring it up anymore.
I told a separate group chat, bro.
Yeah, man. Mo got to the point where he said, man, y'all niggas need to check a separate chat. And Mo has this certain way about himself to where he says things that sound funny. I know that there's been a meme going on online about that. Like the funniest people are the ones who are dead serious.
Yeah.
It's the way he said it, like there was no playing, there was no joking, like there was no haha, like, oh, y'all got me. Like, nah, y'all niggas need another chat. Like,
separate group chat.
Take all this Kendrick shit somewhere else.
Yeah, man.
I say that because when we talk about the objectiveness, we've definitely had our back and forth.
Oh man, yeah.
It was everything for sure.
What a time to be alive,
whatever. But my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had to while I was on my brain.
No doubt. I want to say I appreciate that. And it's funny you said that because in my mind, I already knew. I have something in mind for a full objective episode. I said, okay, we're going to get into some. I'm not going to spoil it here, but like we're going to get into a whole flip on like just to do that. So it's funny you said that because I already knew in my mind. I said, next episode, this is where we're going. Because there are some things that we ain't feeling. And we're going to be very vocal about in our next episode when we drop. So it's funny you said that. So I think if you do so decide to come back, then I think you can see the other side of the coin. I mean, even in it, I talked about his recent album being trash. So
you definitely said For All the Dogs was trash.
Yeah, I said that nigga. I said, bro. So and just to let you in, I talked to my sister and I told her I was like, hey, yo, this nigga had a ghostwriter for the whole album. I like this nigga. This whole album is ghostwritten. But anyway, nonetheless, bro.
I hope you want to find other things to work on, like that you have similar interest in that, because
really our other thing was film, like black film. Like we are really into black film. But I mean, of course, like when we got the Culture Garden. I'm
gonna tell you right now, man. Because I know you talked about the brackets that you've had with black films and all stuff that you guys just do in your own time, not for product, or not for content, just because that's how much you love it. I mentioned, We Got Y'all is about to be popping. We've already got some stuff set up to where Ray P doesn't have to necessarily carry the weight of We Got Y'all and Culture Garden. So there's some gaps in there for her to have a break. One of those gaps I'd love to have you and Ash on to have a conversation. Whether we pick a movie to talk about, whether we do the idea that I brought up, we'll talk about that off mic.
Yeah.
But all types of stuff, man. I would love for y'all because I just think the chemistry that you two have, you can tell you're not just siblings, you're actually friends. And I love like friend siblings. Like I love the ones that like, we and not that we share the same mom and dad, like that could be enough. But we actually rock with each other. Y'all tight, y'all two peas in the pod.
Right on, bro. I'm glad that comes off like that.
Oh man, it's so obvious, man. It's so obvious. And if you love brotherhood, like, you know, I had that with school.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's so easy to relate.
Exactly.
Like, it's so, like, when that's your dog, like, you've done everything
Great
together.
Point. Great point.
Like, you've done everything together. Like, I was listening to something. I was talking about me and school going on a family vacation once. I was listening to something when we did our Will Smith episode, and there's a moment when school and myself were talking about when we were kids going on a family vacation and listening to or hearing Patricia Rushen's "Forget Me Not," and us in the back seat, like, oh snap, she took Will Smith's Men in Black, and my pops turned his head so fast, like, what? Will Smith took this. Yeah. Like, but just those moments, so many moments, like, you forget more than you remember. Mm-hmm. That's what comes out when I hear you and your sister, like you and Ash. Like, it's so organic and so real. Like, and I can tell, like, oh, they homies, like they tight. Like, I would imagine they talk every single day.
Right on, bro. I'm glad that because you're the only, at this very moment, you're the only listeners giving us like that real internal, like, oh, okay, this is my observation on what y'all doing. So all of your things that you're saying, I'm taking mental notes and definitely going to apply and bring some adjustments, because I think what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense, and I respect you as a creator. So I appreciate you for having me on.
I think I'm going to go ahead and chop this up in 2 episodes. I think I'm going to release both of them this week.
Really? Oh,
we might do a Thursday, Friday release. Yeah. Why not?
Man. Now I don't know. I'll tell you off air if you want to know my opinion. But,
all right, yeah. Well, I'll take your opinion.
But do whatever you choose. But thank you again, brother, for having me on. Culture Garden family. When they come up with the name of y'all as a family, thank y'all for embracing me. For those that do embrace me, for those that are like ready to get back to it, don't worry. Y'all know how they give it up. Ray P will be back. They're gonna do their thizzle, and they're gonna do some dope things. So don't even worry about it. I know how to give it up. But thank y'all, and thank you, brother. Thank you, Ray. Shout out to school.
Not necessarily, because depending on how this episode is chopped up, you're gonna be back next week. You'll be back next week for this film that we're discussing. So they're gonna have another week of Mo.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait.
We're supposed to record a film today.
Right, I know that.
Got changed. So you're going to be back next week. So you can't just say, Ray P will be back. Yeah, she's going to be back, but you're going to be back too next week.
Well, I know that.
Okay. I just want you said it like, hey, listener, don't worry. I'll be out of y'all here. Not all the way yet.
Yeah. I got to hear me again, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, depending on how I chop this up, this might be the second part. So you might hear this part after Mo's been on his guest appearance, his first official movie on the Culture Garden. But yeah, man, it's always a pleasure to have you. You know how we get down. You know how we rock. You know what kind of relationship that we built, and business aspect relationship that we built as well. So it's all love, man. I appreciate you. This is crazy that we'll get out of here with this. It's crazy that Mo and myself literally just said, hey, man, let's just record. Let's press play and see what happens. That's literally what we said. We have nothing to talk about. We have no outline, no notes. Let's just press play and see what happens. And here we are 2 hours and 20 minutes later, having to break this down into 2 different parts so it's not too overwhelming. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. We'll be back next week. I'll figure out, Mo's going to give me his game on how I should break these episodes down. So I don't know if they'll both be out this week, but we will release this probably in 2 separate episodes. And we'll be back next week with Mo to discuss a movie. And yeah, that's about it for right now. Like I said, we're doing it off the cuff. Appreciate y'all. Please remember to check out the link tree for all of our additional content. Please remember to like, subscribe. Please reach out, send a message, send an email. We'd love to hear about y'all. There was a part of the conversation where we talked about how I would love to know more about what brings y'all to the Culture Garden. It keeps y'all coming back. So please do all that. Shout out to Ray P. Love to my brother School, Maurice, Spike, the whole 9, man, the whole family. We're going to get it, y'all. Y'all be cool. Y'all be cool. Peace out.